I'm going to turn Japan into an industrial powerhouse by quickly modernizing and playing toll. That's right, not going out of the Japanese Isles, and we're not using any exploits, any cheeses. If we get 4,000 likes, we'll do the second part where we will be expanding within Asia. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Today's video is also sponsored by War Thunder, but we'll talk about that more later. We've had quite a lot of patches for the 1.9 series. We're up to 9.7, and I feel like this is the most stable of versions for this patch, which is why I'm finally doing my Japanese Shogunate run. I'm going to divide this into 3 parts. We're going to do the first 30 years where we just basically play toll, we modernize our nation, change the legislation, restore the empire, and we're going to do that by quickly industrializing very early on. What does that mean? It means that we're going to switch from wood frame to iron frame buildings pretty much instant, focus a lot on building up our industrial power, which in return will lead us down the modernization path as well. There have been a lot of changes with this patch, so do pay close attention. This might end up being a little bit of a longer video simply because I'm going to try and explain more things as I go along, which is why in my opinion Japan is one of the best nations to learn the game, because you do start off in a pretty bad situation, and if you can fix this nation, then you're honestly good to go with pretty much all the other nations in the game. And the second part, once we get 4,000 likes, I will do maybe the expansionist bit where we're going to take the coastline of the Chinese and most of Asia, basically forming the Japanese empire. And in the last part, I'll show you guys how to use the late game production methods to get literally billions of GDP with pretty much only the Japanese islands, because the rest of this I'm probably going to keep as puppets. I'm not going to directly own much of the land outside of Japan, just so I can basically focus on playing toll still despite having a empire in the later part of the campaign. Because of the new treaty system with 1.9 patch, we start with 2 treaties. The Dejima trade, where we basically are giving the Dutch some glass, some porcelain, and some silk in exchange for them giving us liquor, and similarly we're doing the same with the Qing. We're getting tools in exchange for lead given over to Qing. That's actually one of the main things that we're going to be taking advantage of in this particular patch, namely the treaty system, because it can be pretty useful. That being said, we will start by improving relations with the Russians, improving relations with the British, because we would like to have great relations, maybe do some good treaties with them too. Now we could also rival the Qing, however I'd rather not rival them in the first part of the campaign. Instead, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to improve relations with them so that I can maybe get some more treaties going with them and get some money off of those treaties as consequence. Let's go ahead and do our research first. We are very far from getting our atmospheric engines, which is required for industrializing. However, we have bigger priorities here, namely we want to get stock exchange, and more importantly we want to get romanticism. I'm actually going to research romanticism first, because that will allow us the agrarianism economic system. Right now, the economic system of traditionalism is absolutely killing our country. It's lowering our market access price impact by 15%, our taxation capacity by 25%, and it's just overall horrible. Easiest way to switch away from it is to get the Heimin in a government, which we can actually do from day one, and we still have some legitimacy. So getting the Heimin will allow us to go for agrarianism. However, because we don't have the technology of romanticism, we don't have the option of going for this particular legislation. So that's why we're researching romanticism first, followed by stock exchange, cotton gin, and so on until atmospheric engine, water tube boilers, and the sorts, right? This is basically our queue right now for technologies. We do start with a lot of authority, and we're going to make use of that. First off, we're going to be suppressing the absolutist movement. Why are we doing that? It's because they're pressuring our interest groups to align with laws that we don't want them to align, including traditionalism. That being said, they do endorse appointed bureaucrats, which is honestly not the worst idea, because that means we increase our taxation capacity by 25%. And right now we are basically losing 57,000 pounds in unrealized taxes. You might be inclined to just spam government administrations everywhere, but that's not the solution. Sure, that will increase your taxation capacity in the provinces where you have the government administration buildings. However, the problem is going to be that these are going to cost a lot to maintain, so you're going to end up paying more for them than you're actually making off of the taxation capacity increase. So you don't want to spam government administration. You want to fix your taxation problems by switching the economic system, the bureaucratic system, and of course going for better technology such as central archives, which will give you more taxation capacity out of the standardized filing system as well for the government administration buildings. If we go over to information for our states and scroll down a bit, we see that our general market access price impact is 65 for our states. It can be even less than that actually. It can be 60 in certain certain states like Tohoku, which means that you're basically paying 40% more to import goods from other states into that particular state. So if I was to say build a construction sector in the state of Tohoku, this construction sector would intake, for now with the current production method, fabric and wood. Now, unless we have wood, which we do have in this state, or fabric in this state, which we don't have, then they have to import that fabric and wood from other states. So that means that this construction sector is going to pay 40% more for the cotton, or better yet, the fiber it needs to produce construction. So that's not really efficient. That means that we want to, early on in the campaign, at least until we fix our market access issues, build closed circuit systems, as I like to call them. What are the closed circuit systems? Well, for example, let's say we have in Edo or Kanto a construction sector. In fact, we're going to build 5. That's going to be our first few buildings that we're going to do. And then we're going to need, as I said earlier, fiber and wood. So what we're going to do next is we're going to build 1 cotton plantation and a couple of logging camps in Kanto. That way, all of the wood and the fiber required for these construction sectors is going to be in Kanto. So we're not paying 35% more for importing these goods from other states. That being said, states have a limited amount of infrastructure. You don't want to go over that because then you don't have enough market access. So you go back to square one, right? As the Japanese, we have quite a lot of infrastructure in most of our states though. So look at that, 58, 64, 41. Certain states do have more than others, 61 here. This is our capital state, but once we restore the Japanese Empire, we're going to switch the capital to Kanto. So I'm going to primarily focus my industry in Kanto, as well as a little bit to Kansai as well, and so on. I'm going to do road maintenance in wherever we're building things. So that way we get a bit of a speed bonus. We get 10% construction efficiency because of that particular decree. And I'm also going to do social mobility for the extra qualifications. I don't care about the education access, which increases my literacy, as much as I care about the qualifications, because 55 literacy is actually pretty high. So what happens is it increases our innovation cap to 132. However, universities are pretty expensive, so we're not going to be able to reach our innovation cap early in the campaign, which is why social mobility for the education access is not necessarily the best idea, which means that we're going to do manufacturing industry with the rest of the decrees, as well as resource industry wherever we have a lot of resources, and obviously keep the road maintenance and social mobility wherever you're starting to build up. We're going to try and also keep a bit of excess authority, because that way we get enactment time reduction. So whenever we're passing legislation, it will pass a little bit faster as consequence. We have a few options here. We can go for professional army. We can also go for dedicated police force, which is not bad because it lowers the political strength of the shogunate, which is extremely powerful right now. However, we have other options too. We could switch over and bring the intelligentsia in the government, boom, and that way we're going to be able to switch to the appointed bureaucrats that will increase our taxation capacity by 25%. This is a bit of a gamble, but it will not piss off the other interest groups too much. It's just going to be tough to pass, so it's up to you if you want to reload the game just to pass appointed bureaucrats fast or not. We're going to keep our taxation on medium. We will add some consumption tax on services and on tobacco, and we're going to lower government wages to very low. Same for the military. We're also going to be changing our production method to cargo. Now, seeing as we are trying to go for appointed bureaucrats and we like to increase the power of the intelligentsia, we're going to switch to the secular administration. This increases the amount of bureaucrats that we have, which support the intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie predominantly, compared to the clergymen, which predominantly support the Buddhist monks and the haymen. Take note, we might switch on back to this when we need more clergymen to get the haymen in the government, because after we pass the appointed bureaucrats, well, if we pass that, we will try to go for agrarianism and, more importantly, homesteading. Actually, we do have quite a lot of support for homesteading. You might also be inclined to delete your armies because you're not going to use them for the early part of the campaign. I'm not going to do that, because one thing that matters when you get treaties is your power projection. So having a higher army power projection will allow us to get better treaties. See here, for example, Russian army power projection compared to ours gives us minus 78 for an acceptance of an alliance. If we delete our army, it's going to be even more than minus 70. It's probably going to be minus 100 or something, because they would see us as extremely weak. I would also love to switch over to iron frame production methods, but that would be extremely expensive because we do not produce any iron right now, or any tools for that matter, which is why tools is going to be the next building in the queue here, together with the iron mines. I'm going to say get 5 iron mines in there for now, and I'm going to do fishing trawlers or my fishing wharves as a production production method, as well as change some, not all, but some of my logging camps to the sawmill production method. Why are we doing that? Is because we do have 20 tools that we're getting from the Qing because of the treaty. We don't have more than 20 tools, so anything above that would incur a bigger penalty. So I'd rather not waste our money. Before we continue, big thanks to today's sponsor, War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, now available on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. Command over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations. From biplanes to fighter jets and main battle tanks of today, War Thunder lets you immerse yourself in intense combat with incredible vehicle details, realistic graphics, and a community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles. The game has an impressive damage X-ray view that lets you see exactly where the shell penetrated, what components were affected, and what led to the destruction of the vehicle. My favorite part is that there's a game mode for every type of player, from arcade battles to simulator and realistic mode. You have the perfect style to suit your preferred type of gameplay. Don't miss out and use my links below to play War Thunder for free on PC, consoles, and mobile. You get a massive bonus pack for new and returning players that haven't played in at least 6 months for PC and consoles if you use my links, and it includes 100,000 Silver Lion, 7 days premium account, and more for a limited time only. Also take note, the Japanese market is isolated from the rest of the world. We don't have access to the world market until we change our legislation from isolationist. However, we can still do treaties, so we will try and get some of our goods from treaties. Take note though, once we do get access to the world market, we're going to be able to flood it with a lot of the goods that we have excess of, and it might be a little bit counterintuitive, but see, for example, here the minus is a plus. What I mean by that is the current price of sugar, for example, is 19.2, which is 35% less because there's more sugar available on the market than there is demand for that particular good. That means that whatever's on the plus, that's actually the shortage. So if you want to become a trade hegemony in this patch, you want to aim for the goods that have the plus on the world market, build a lot of that, get your trade centers to export that to the world market, and become filthy rich off of it. All right, it's official. I cannot get ships from anyone. I've genuinely tried getting ships from the British, from the Russians, from the Dutch, from everyone I have access to. Nobody wants to send me some freaking ships. That's crazy. I have to build my own ship industry. One of my test runs before this, I was able to get ships from the British actually early on without having to do too much, but it can be very RNG. So again, mold yourself on whatever RNG you get. If you're not able to get ships from anyone, just go ahead and build your own shipyard. We do start with one shipyard. We just got to build a second one, and we're going to build it in Kanto. So I'm going to redo my queue a little bit here. We're going to have it a little bit like this. We got the cotton plantation in Kanto, which means that we now have local production of fiber for the construction sectors, and we're only doing a single logging camp. We're going to change this one to have the sawmill production method, however, and once we get the tooling workshop done and the shipyard, we're going to get more construction sectors in Kansai, and then after that we're going to do the iron mines. In fact, I think I can probably do the construction sectors now in Kansai. Let's get 4 of them. I'll click them. Why am I doing that? Well, because I don't have that much of a wood shortage. Right now it's only 400 and something. So, oh dude, my private sector is also building a shipyard. I just saw that. Bro, that's such a waste. I'm gonna have extra ships now. I'm gonna have to build more fishing wharves eventually to make use of those ships, I guess. First iron mine has been finished, which means we're gonna change to the rough iron tools production method for the tooling workshop that will input 20 iron, which is exactly the amount we have produced right now from the iron mine. We're gonna subsidize it just so we get workers in here a little bit faster, and we're gonna queue up one more tooling workshop. Yay, we got romanticism. That's huge. Problem is, we still haven't finished passing appointed bureaucrats, and I'm not super sure we're even gonna be able to pass that anymore, so let's see how it goes. I could do a few things now. We've got 2 options really. We could either get more construction sectors and remain on the wood production method, or we can start switching slowly some of our construction sectors to the iron frame construction method. I'm gonna attempt the one in Kanto, see how that goes first. That will increase my demand for iron, and I don't have enough, so I'm just gonna obviously queue up more iron mines here, another 5 for now. That does mean we're gonna start losing money because we're not a major power. We are instead an unrecognized major power. We don't get the loan interest reduction, so if we start taking interest, it's gonna be Jover. That means that the second that you lose your reserves, you want to stop. You want to just downsize whatever you're downsizing, and you want to make sure that you don't go in the red, because the second you do that, it's over. It's really over, guys. Now we have a problem here? It would seem like we're not producing enough lead to give the Chinese. Why is that happening? It's because we don't have enough tools. No problem. Both us and the private sector are building tools, so that should be fixed in 11 months. 11 weeks, better yet. Also, guys, with the new patch, take note, earning recognition is a little bit more easier. We just need above 40 literacy, be in the top 10 GDP, and get rid of some of our horrible legislation. So once we pass some laws that get rid of serfdom, isolationism, and traditionalism, we should start earning recognition fairly early in the campaign compared to previous patches. Also, take note, as soon as the peasant movement appears, and it should appear early on in the campaign, make sure you start bolstering it so it starts pressuring other interest groups eventually, not just the Haymen. Next up in the queue is going to be some logging camps after we finish the current iron mines, and then once all of these are done, we can also switch over to iron frame building all of our construction sectors, not just the ones in Kanto. Guys, I've literally fluctuated between 18 and 28% success chance for 2 years for appointed bureaucrats. I don't even know what to do. Should I just cancel this freaking thing? It's been going up, going down, going up, going down continuously. It's actually ridiculous. Look at this thing. Just look at this freaking thing. This is insane, man. What is this RNG? Oh, yes, baby. We managed to get better production methods now for the textile mills, the furniture manufactories, and the glassworks. And this is really good because us producing more will allow us to trade some of this with Qing, which is in massive need of some of these particular goods. We also have some significant changes now. So we have higher demands for lead and for meat because of the new treaties we managed to get with Qing, which is why I've queued up a lead mine after we finish the current logging camps. And we're going to need to queue up actually some livestock ranches, or we can change over to the butchering tools, which should fix our meat issues. That being said, it will increase our demand in tools. So we're up to minus 30. That's actually not bad. That's actually really not bad. It means we could probably get 2 more tooling workshops, some more iron mines as well, and then after change over the rest of the production methods. I'm actually going to do the one in Chubu already, see how that handles. Oh my god, we finally went to adoption phase. Hallelujah, bro. I'm not sure why it doesn't show the treaties and diplomatic pacts anymore in the budget screen. I feel like it really should though. Let me see what else we have a bit of a surplus of right now. So we got a lot of tea, grain, furniture surplus. Maybe I can trade some of this off to the southern neighbors and make a little bit of money off of it too. Yay! Appointed bureaucrats, freaking finally. It's not a massive win, but it's definitely a win, okay? Now this does mean that we lost the minus 25% bureaucracy population cost modifier, so it means we have a massive shortage of bureaucracy as consequence now, but it's not the end of the world. We will be okay. We also can actually go for homesteading now straight, or we could attempt agrarianism. We do have to make one change though. We have to bring in the Haymen and the government. We're gonna attempt first to pass agrarianism. If it doesn't work, we're gonna switch over and try and go for homesteading. We're also gonna start building a few more government administration buildings now, since we do have that bureaucracy issue. So we're gonna do 3 of them in Kansai and a couple more around the rest of the country. Plus, we're gonna switch over to administrative clergy, which lowers the cost of paper needed, as well as it gets more clergymen, which remember, they do support the Haymen more than they support the intelligentsia. Seems like the British also have a domineering attitude towards us. That is not great. I'm also gonna queue up a few textile mills, which will help me get some more money too, and I'm gonna start privatizing my buildings, so I start building up some more reserves, because we're about to finish all of our reserves, as well as we want to get some more capitalists, which we can tax later once we reform our tax code, because we will in fact try and go for proportional taxation first before we even attempt to go for consumption tax. There you go. We have started selling off some buildings, which is building up some reserves for us, which allows us to continue to expand our industry. Hey, we managed to get an agitator. He's a Republican. That's not the best case, that's for sure. Elected bureaucrats and presidential republic. That's really not the best, but at least he's supporting the liberal movement, which also endorses landed voting, wealth voting, which we will probably pass whenever we have the option to. Not sure why we have such a high amount of meat shortage, but I'm gonna start producing some livestock ranches, because apparently our people love the meat. It's actually pretty accurate though, to be fair. I live in Japan and I can tell you for sure, Japanese people love eating beef. Like, they really love it. In fact, I also love it, so I'm in the right place, I'd say. We're also gonna slowly increase the amount of construction sectors to see how much we can get without going bankrupt bankrupt, right? We do have quite a bit of assets built up now because of the privatization, so I think we could probably sustain quite a few construction sectors, to be fair. I'm gonna try and maybe overdo it, but yeah, we're gonna go for 10 construction sectors in Kanto and then work with that, see what happens. There you go. We got significant shortages as consequence now, up to 400 iron shortage. So yeah, we're gonna need to spam a lot of these. Problem is infrastructure, actually. We're gonna need to spam these in Tohoku, where we also have iron available now. We're gonna have to stop building in Kanto until we get railways or get more ports, because also ports do increase your infrastructure, albeit it's not as efficient. We only get 3 infrastructure for the cargo port level. Oh my god, this actually saved us, like genuinely saved us right now. We got the atmospheric engine pumps. That is amazing. Okay, so instead of iron mines, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna build up coal mines, because the truth is coal is gonna be a lot more important as consequence now. We're gonna do alt click 3 of these and then regular click a couple more afterwards. 240 shortage of coal is pretty significant amount. As for the journal entry, always go for the increase in progress on the technology, because we really want to pass water to boilers ASAP. And speaking of, we're going to queue up railways right after mechanical tools and mechanized workshops later down the line. Also, we can definitely afford some universities. I haven't built any actually yet, so I'm going to start by getting one in each of my states just for the extra qualifications. We also seem to have gotten a new shogun, which is honestly as bad as the old one, so not much of a difference. We will prioritize, however, getting the tooling workshops before the universities, because we want to make sure we don't have shortages for the construction methods at least. Actually, I don't need that iron mine now. We can do that afterwards, even though it's almost finished. And we also seem to have quite a bit of a shortage of groceries, because our people are surprisingly doing pretty well, so we're going to queue up one of those grocery shops too. Despite being a quote-unquote backwards nation, we're actually keeping up with the GDP, and we're going to do even better once we get some better legislations. Agrarianism is going to be the first massive law that will help us propagate our GDP into outer space. We also can get the Russians to help us pass agrarianism. It's a little bit different in this patch. Basically, you get 5% comparatively to the rank of the nation that's giving you that particular law. So because they're a great power, we should get a little bit of bonus to agrarianism. I'm going to allow them to build in my country, and I'm also going to give them obligations. That's a 50% chance. We could also boost that up a little bit more if we say give them something else, such as tobacco maybe. They do want a lot of tobacco. I don't know if I can get that much to them. So that would be 77% chance, and maybe some, I don't know, iron, but not 400, that's for sure. Maybe 70 should be fine. 92% chance. Okay, that should pass. If it doesn't pass, that would be crazy. All right, it did pass. That's actually pretty good for us. So now if we check over here, we got an extra 10% law commitment bonus from the treaty with the Russian Empire. If we were a great power ourselves, then that wouldn't do anything, that particular treaty. The reason I also got the investment agreement with the Russians is because I know for a fact Russia is probably not going to be building anything in my country regardless, and in 5 years that treaty is going to expire, so I'm just going to back out of it. I also probably should point out, guys, something very important that was changed in this patch is that the universities only have 1,000 employment. Why does this matter? It's because it means there's a lot less people that will be attached to a particular interest group. Prior to this patch, it was 5,000 people per university. Now it's 1,000, so keep that in mind. Your quote-unquote intellectuals will not make as much of a difference when it comes to swaying interest groups as they did before, because there's just a lot less of them now. So that means there's also a lot less jobs that you get from universities. Again, pretty important change too. We're also going to queue up 2 arms industries, because we need to start upgrading our soldiers to line infantry. We could do it now, but that would not be the smartest idea, because we don't have any small arms produced, and remember they were isolated. Actually, we need at least 3 of them to be able to upgrade all 100 units. And I need to do this ASAP, because around the 1480s there's a trend I've noticed with most nations to become domineering towards us. That's why the British are domineering, the French are domineering, and one of them is likely going to try and make us into a puppet, and I would like not to be their puppet if possible. Oh my freaking god, this is finally here. British are damaging relations. That is precursor to them attacking us. So yeah, look at that, 50% enactment for homesteading. That's kind of a guarantee that we're gonna get this in essence, and that is influenced a lot by the peasant movement, which I've been bolstering since the start of the campaign. Okay, you cannot own human beings is a very good statement that allows us to pass one phase to consideration. I love it. I freaking love it. Give me that homesteading. I'm ready for it. Give it to me right now. Okay, again, what is up with the meat shortages, bro? Why do we have such massive meat shortages? Oh, this is better. This is way better than before. So I've queued up a fertilizer plant so we can change our production method for the agriculture buildings. And now that we got condensed engine pumps too, we're going to produce significantly more of the basic resources, which in turn means that we're going to be able to get more construction sectors without any issues. I'm going to get these in Kansai just because I don't have enough infrastructure in Kanto. Otherwise, I would have made them in Kanto. And we're going to need another government administration building at the very least as well. Again, in Kansai, I guess. Also, we're going to be queuing up more universities. I'm going to try and get 3 more here and at least 2 universities in every one of our states, as well as probably either Kansai or Kanto. Thinking Kansai because of the infrastructure right now, we're going to get 10. But let's see if we manage to research railways, and that by that point that the last building in the queue is done, then we likely will just switch over to Kanto. You know, the really funny part is that we actually do have a Japanese land reformer that would help with this massively, but we cannot invite him as an agitator because we have closed borders. So that's another thing that we're going to eventually have to open up our borders, just so we do some journal entries and so we have some migrants come in here, because once we pass some better citizenship laws, we're going to be able to import all the Han Chinese once they also open up their borders, because they also start with closed borders. Oh, literally speak of the devil. We got him as an agitator from a freaking event. That is actually crazy, man. And we got adoption phase. It's so Jover. We got this, boys. We got this in the freaking bag. I'm just like slowly adding more and more construction sectors as I progress here whenever I feel like we can handle it. So we've got a pretty steady curve when it comes to the national revenue right now, and I'm just adding up as needed. You see, now I'm actually worried. We're down to 25%. I'm not happy with that. Okay, just pass, please. I need you to pass, homesteading. I really need you to pass, because this is pretty bad already. Okay, come on, just freaking do what I say and pass. Don't do this to me, homesteading. Don't freaking do this to me. Oh my god, I did pass. Oh, I was a little bit worried there, I'm not gonna lie. I was quite worried actually. Oh no, we have shortages of sulfur now. Okay, so we don't have any sulfur mines, but we seem to start. Oh wait, no, we do have a sulfur mine. Oh yeah, we do. Okay, that's fine. So that means we can actually start switching some of our paper mills to that particular production method. We do have a bit of a chance of getting migration control. I guess we could try and do that. We've added the petty bourgeoisie into the government for it. It's not necessarily a priority, but it will be helpful for later in the campaign, and since we have a chance of passing that now, we might as well go for it. It's also time to upgrade the line infantry, since we have all 3 of the small arms industries built up, and I'm also gonna like to get some artillery units just so we get that extra oomph for our soldiers. Oh, let's go, baby. Some great news. Finally, we got gold fields in Hokkaido. Holy literal free money. Oh god, this is the worst thing. No, we got devastation in our provinces because of the volcano exploding. I hate that. Worst event in the game ever. Okay, migration control is actually passing super fast, which I'm kind of happy to see. And we're also increasing our innovation by quite a lot. Our cap is 150, so I'm going to try and actually reach our cap. Right now, we got 18 universities. Let's do another 8 in Kansai, because Kanto is an issue with the infrastructure, unfortunately. But there you go. Literally, as I just said that, we got railways. Oh god. The Russians want us to open the Japanese market. Well, gee Louise, guys, I guess I have to get free trade now. That's why I didn't even bother with that. It happens so often, it's crazy. I love that, actually, this patch. Either the French or the British or the Russians or the Americans will ask us to open our market, which is perfect. That way we get the opening of Japan, which lowers the political strength of the shogunate. It gives us some extra legitimacy, and it basically allows us to modernize our country. So the game itself allows us to modernize without any sort of an issue. Let's go, boys. Let's bring in the intelligentsia and the heimin and the government, and that way we have pretty much ousted the shogunate now. Plus, check it out, we are now getting a recognition from the literacy and the GDP and the fact that we do not have anymore the bad economic system, we're not isolated anymore, and so on. So yeah, we're pretty much already modernized in just the first 10-15 years without cheesing. I'm gonna add this because I know there's other ways of restoring the empire and opening the borders in the first year of the campaign by cheesing it and basically, you know, attacking this major power, and in return they ask you to open your borders, and you do this particular event from day one. I'd like to wait for it because I feel like that's the more historical, and for me personally, the more fun way. There you go, honorable restoration. Now, as long as we keep the shogunate out of government for 10 years, we don't need to have the civil war. And now that we have an open border, we can start getting trade centers, baby. Look at that, trade potential 500. Oh my god, guys, this is gonna be freaking massive. We're gonna become an insane trading powerhouse. and all because of our friends that forced us to open our borders. So friends is maybe not the best word though. Okay, let's outqueue a railway in Kanto, and we're also going to need a motor industry in Kanto too, because we're going to need motors for those trains. Another great day for the Japanese Empire. We've managed to get migration control done, so now we really should go for public schools actually, because it's going to give us extra education access. But at the same time, if I go for a voting system, it would be a massive win. It's a bit of a tough one. I'm going to go for the voting system because that's going to allow us to get recognition a little bit faster, +1 from having a voting system. And now a little bit off topic, guys, but how would you feel about me actually playing some War Thunder on either stream or as a video? Because aside from the sponsored bit from today, I actually really like War Thunder. Like, I genuinely play War Thunder. I got like mostly play German tanks, to be fair, but I also play planes sometimes, and also play Enlisted, which is technically not War Thunder, but it's made by the same company, so it's like War Thunder with infantry. I like those games, but I know that if I make videos for those kind of games, most people would not watch because they're used to me playing map games. So this is just a genuine question for you guys. If whoever's watching now, let me know in the comment section, would you like me to cover some of those games? Heck, I even play Escape from Tarkov. I play Rust a lot, and I love those games a lot, you know, but I'm always worried about making videos because I know people are not going to be that interested. They're maybe going to be like, oh, I subscribe to you for map games, I don't want to watch that. Be honest, I genuinely want to know what you actually think. Now it's also time to stop suppressing the absolutist movement because it doesn't have much power anyway left, and instead we're going to be bolstering the modernization movement. Why are we doing this? Because it has some laws that we really want to pass, namely proportional and graduated taxation, public schools, heck, even interventionism is better than agrarianism, compulsory primary education. All the laws that modernization movement has, we basically want to pass. And also, now that we have open borders, we can invite other agitators, such as this modernizer, which for some reason is supporting the peasant movement, and this modernizer, which is an abolitionist. We don't have issues with that, but he also is supporting the modernization movement, the one that we are talking about here. So let's go ahead and get this champion in our government, well, in our country, I guess. Back to the laws, we're gonna go for dialectics, so we get a little bit more out of our universities, and we're gonna do nationalism central archives, so we get the taxation capacity I was talking about earlier, as well as we're gonna try and get some companies as well. And it's also time that we get our power block. So let's go ahead and name this anime enjoyers. Of course, go for internal trade, and we need a little bit more influence. So to get that, we're gonna stop improving with the Russians. Boom, that will piss the shit out of everybody, which is also why I made sure I have a decent army to defend in case I get attacked. And now we have to improve relations with everyone, so we're gonna need to get some rivals because we need more influence. Boom, boom, start improving, especially with the Russians because they're the most likely ones to attack us, and the British. Now our market access situation is significantly better than before. We're up to 85 in most of our states and 90 in some of them because of various modifiers like the Edo Bay here, but that's still 10 to 15% that is more expensive to import from other states. So what I like to do is I like to have at least one of each consumer goods factories in each state. So that means one textile mill in every state, one furniture manufacturer in every state as well, one food industry as well in every state. Right now we don't have that high of a demand though, so I'm gonna slowly build these up as they are required, not instantly build them everywhere though, so keep that in mind. Okay, so we've got some bad news. Our gold mines have been depleted. We're gonna have to outclick all 5 of these gold mines because this is quite literally just pure money that we're getting from these gold mines, so we want to get these established as soon as we can. Now I'm not too worried about going into the negative here with my budget because the second I stop building, I've got 8.8 million investment pool, so the investment pool is going to start building, and as such I can make up the loss of money, which is not the end of the world as consequence. Oh dude, look at that, we actually are above the Austrians now, so we've overtaken one of the greatest nations in Europe, and we're still climbing. It's going to get even better once we do become recognized, because then we're going to be a major power and we're going to be able to start taking loans and scale as consequence a lot faster with them. And we also finally have a voting system, so if we go here we see that we're getting +3 monthly for recognition rather than 2. It would be easy for me to go for wealth voting now, it's actually not the worst idea, but I would really like to go for public schools. Like I said earlier, this is one of my priorities as right now, because we want to get education system enacted. Also going to research egalitarianism. Actually, I'm going to do egalitarianism next, and then we can do the corporation charter and central banks after. This is required because it will allow us to go for proportional taxation, and I'm fairly confident that we're going to have the ability to switch to proportional straight. We're not going to have to go for per capita taxation. Right now, it might seem like proportional gives us less money, but the reality is that it's going to give us way more money in just a few years because we're heavily industrializing as it is. And yes, that does mean I'm going to switch to a predominantly industrialist government once I get wealth voting passed, at least. Probably even know we might be able to. Let's actually see. We did get the industrialists? No. Well, we could. We wouldn't have much legitimacy, but we could get the industrialists in. So even now, it's possible, actually. Seeing as our pops are able to afford more goods, we also have bigger shortages of clothes, furniture, and groceries, so we can build up around that. But I think the main thing is that we're going to need more construction sectors. So let's get another 5 construction sectors in Kanto, and as such, we're going to need more tooling workshops as well here, and some more coal mines too in the south, because we don't have any options for that. Actually, only Hokkaido and Kyushu can have coal mines. There you go. We also got public schools. Actually, that was really lucky. I think 14% or something, so that's pretty good. We could even go for cultural exclusion or racial segregation, but I'm going to keep it on national supremacy still, because I do like the extra authority that it brings. Instead, I'm going to go for professional army, so we actually can get, you guessed it, a professional army, and it will allow us to get up to 100 battalions recruited per state. So now we have filled up the recognition tab. Unfortunately, the nations that we were trying to get 50 relations with that had great power have less than 50 relations because we formed the power block. So that's a little bit my fault there. I probably should have formed the power block earlier in the campaign. I just didn't do it because I knew that if I did earlier, likely other nations would have attacked me and it would have been Jover for that particular run. Oh boys, it might be Jover. The British are attacking us, with the casus belli being regime change. So I guess we're gonna see what happens now, won't we? The reason I did not accept regime change, because honestly, regime change is not the end of the world. It simply means that we're gonna change from agrarianism from the agrarian party to probably the imperial rule party. So it's not that bad. In fact, I could just capitulate and I'd accept that, but that party would not accept me going for proportional taxation. So the main thing we need to do now is wait until we pass proportional taxation. After we pass that, we can capitulate and we can let the English quote unquote win. Okay, we do have a lot of support for proportional taxation, so hopefully it actually passes on this tick. If it doesn't pass on this tick, I don't think we can hold off the English. I genuinely don't think we can hold them off. They do have insane units, so let's see what happens. Yeah, I freaking knew it. I freaking knew it. At least they didn't get our capital though. Hey, come on, give me this, boys. Come on, give me this. We really need this. Please pass, please pass, please pass. Come on, pass! Okay, we got this, boys. All right, you know what? Britain, you won. You freaking won, boys. Yeah, look at that. Capitulate. Oh no, regime change in my country. Oh, it's the end. Oh, feels very bad, man. Let me guess, Imperial Rule Party? Of course, of course. Doesn't matter, because we got proportional taxation. Hell yeah. Okay, now we can go for dedicated police force. Only shitty part about that is that it did lower our recognition tab, but we didn't have the 50 relations with the great power anyway, so it didn't make much of a difference. Yay, we got our first company. Time to catch up with everybody else in the world. I like the Japan Steel Company, but there are actually some unique Japanese companies that are pretty powerful, such as Mitsui, which gives us 20% industrialist political strength, which is huge. We do need a level 5 textile mill in Kansai, which we don't have. It's a very interesting one over here as well. South Manchurian Railway Company. Okay. And we also have Mitsubishi, which increases automotive industry's building throughput. That's good. The problem is this one doesn't have a prestige good. This one has, however. We have washi paper. We also got Tomioka silk. I'm going to do that as my second one. The first one is going to be the construction efficiency. 5% construction efficiency one. So we will give them also iron mines. That should be enough for their industries. How close are we to getting 50 relations with one of these nations? We're close with the Russians, unless they send off our diplomats again. We do have to get up to 200 again with earning recognition, but it should be a little bit faster now though. And we also managed to finish the Terakoya system. That is pretty Gucci. We also got the Honorable Restoration, named after Emperor Komei Yamato, who is a authoritarian samurai. He's not as great as his kid, Meiji, the protectionist industrialist. That's the one you really want to go for. But hey, it's better than nothing, right? So we have to two options. We can get more strength to the intelligentsia or the industrialists. I'm going to go for the industrialists for very obvious reasons. Going to create a pro-country lobby with the Russians, which we're going to try and get an actual alliance with eventually. And we got one of the restoration points ending of Sakoku because we've opened up basically our country. To industrialize the country, we need to have 70% of the country with railways and urban centers above level 5. So that's not too difficult. Retire the samurai. We just need to make sure the samurai are not a part of the government and have proper production methods for the barracks. That means no organized training. And see what I was saying earlier, because we're not a major or a great power, we are paying a buttload in interest. We do have right now 3 million principal, so we're going to have to scale down on our construction efforts a little bit. I'm going to pause construction temporarily. That way my private sector picks up all of the construction, so the private sector is building up with the investment pool that we have, and that way we got 15 million in the investment pool that we're going to be taking advantage of as consequence. Now what the private sector is building is what the private sector thinks is most profitable, so it might not be the actual most profitable, but it's the only option we have right now. As I said earlier, the capital has automatically changed to Kanto, which has gone up to 7 million population. Not bad at all. Remember how we also can now start colonizing Sakhalin. Let's actually check if the Russians have switched over to frontier colonization. They have not. They don't have any colonization policy. That's really, really good for us, actually. All right, we are doing really good with our economy again. So actually, we can probably scale up our industry a little bit more. So let's get another 5 construction sectors in Kanto again, see what our major shortages are. We've got a lot of iron. Like I said, we can definitely scale up our industry. We do have shortages of tools and wood, and that's going to actually increase once we have the extra 5 construction sectors, but we also have shortages of clothes and groceries. So we're going to have to find a balance between all of that. Say 4 tooling workshops, another, I don't know, 10 or so logging camps, and then after we can start actually queuing up more of these textile mills a little bit everywhere around the country. Same for the furniture manufacturers. We have quite a few shortages of that too. And of course, the food industries. Actually, the food industries, I think the main issue with the food industries is the production methods. If we scale down our liquor production, we should be fine with the food industries and even more productive. Russian-Japanese Treaty of Commerce and Navigation. The Russians have recognized us as a nation. So now we have earned recognition. It means that we are officially a major power, and because we are a major power, we do get a minus 25% loan interest rate. We get potential agitators, a migration attraction, and so on, so on. A lot of great bonuses. Now I'm going to ask them to also guarantee my independence, and I'm going to go for trade privileges in the same deal, as well as I'm going to buy some wood from the Russians. We will start getting shortages of wood as we progress in the campaign, and Russia is the place to buy the wood from. And I'm also going to be giving them some porcelain, because they do seem to need porcelain, and I've got quite a little bit of it. 60%. They failed me earlier at a lot less, so let's try and give more benefits if we can. Maybe we can give them some engines too. That's 77. Okay, they should definitely accept 77, right? They're not crazy not to accept 77. All right, they did. Okay, perfect. That does mean we're gonna need some more engine factories now, so let's queue up that as well. Guess 3 more engine industries should see us through for the next few years, in my opinion. It's also time that we get Mitsui established. Boom shakalaka. So this company is historically one of the earliest Japanese companies / corporations. In fact, today Mitsui is also one of the strongest corporations in Japan. They quite literally own entire freaking cities, more or less. Like, they own most of the big businesses around most cities, right? We're gonna give them some more industries here, such as iron mines, or actually fertilizer plants, because I did give iron mines to the other one. The third company, I'm gonna go for Mitsubishi, just so we get the holy trinity of Japanese companies, right? And I'm also going to give them investment rights. Oh, we seem to have a bit of a little rebellion here. Sakhalin, how about you suck on these Collins? Suck on these Collins. Totally wasn't saying anything else. The Russians would like us to embargo the Americans. Well, isn't that just the most Russian thing ever? Guess we can do it, since the Americans don't even have a border on the western parts yet, so we're not too worried about them. Also, what the hell, Britain? They took the entirety of the freaking state? Okay, I wasn't too sure about whether whether in the second part I'm actually gonna go into China, but now I want to, because this is not acceptable, bro. Why is Britain so aggressive in this patch? It's actually mind-blowing to me to see how aggressive the British are in this patch. It's crazy, brother. About time our people also get public health insurance, which I can attest myself is probably the best health insurance I've ever seen in the world. Now, we also have the option of adopting state Shinto, and I will be doing that mainly because it does change the traits of the Shinto monks, and I actually like the new traits a little bit better. You can have up to 15% increased authority, which is pretty significant actually. And more importantly, I actually just like the little gate here, the Shinto Tori. It looks cute. I like it. All right, let's see some stats here, shall we? So as consequence, we now have close to half of our population Shinto, and it will start growing whilst the Mahayana will start going down. Culture wise, it's pretty much just Japanese. Yeah, it's very few Ainus, Siberians, and Han, and it's mostly just Japanese. GDP wise, we have overtaken the French, and also very surprising, very surprising, the Spanish are above us. I have to say, guys, I am really looking forward to the Spanish run in this patch, because I've noticed Spain is doing way better than in previous patches. To two nations, Spain and Brazil, have been doing super good in this patch. Maybe not in this save game, but in other save games it has. So I'm kind of hyped. Let me know what you guys think about me doing a Spanish run, what you'd like me to do in it. Hey, we did a second restoration point, industrialization of Japan. We just have to now do a retiring of the samurai. Wait, they gotta be not a part of the government. That's it. That's easy. We can just get them out of there. Can we actually get them out of there? It seems like we cannot have an actual government without getting them out. What? Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. So now they're not a part of the government. Boom. Does that mean we did the fall of the samurai? We did do the fall of the samurai. Hell yeah, they lose the Bakufu ideology and Hayao Matsudaira dies. Oh no, feels bad, man. Now we're gonna do a new government that includes the samurai without Bakufu, so we can continue to do public health insurance, and we can get some claims on the Korean parts for strategic having Korea for ourselves reasons, which is gonna happen in the second part of this campaign. Now we're gonna get ready for that by, you know, actually setting up the nation so that we have an army ready to attack when that happens. I think maybe I'm gonna go for mutual funds first though, and identification paper, steel frame. That is pretty vital to me. Then after that we can do the rest of the schnitzel. Max cap is 168, so we can actually spam some more universities. Let's get another 5 for now in Kansai, and then queue up some more around the country as well too. Kansai has essentially become our education hub. We've got 30% economy of scale in here. If we want to get more than 30%, we need to actually get shift work, which increases the cap for economy of scale by another 20. So we would be able to get up to 50% throughput bonus from having 50 universities in there. Technically, I shouldn't even spam these in Kansai. I should spam them in other provinces right now, since we do not have the economy of scale in there. In fact, we might as well just spam them in Kanto actually. And to get ready for future wars, we're gonna have our shipyard, military shipyard. We're gonna need some explosives factories too, since we'll be switching over to skirmishers any moment now. Oh, and I believe that we need more bureaucracy, guys. The age-old question when playing as Japan: how much bureaucracy do you need? You need all of it. That's the answer. The answer is all of the bureaucracy. Oh, our company is producing the special good. Yay! We have Tomioka silk, the best silk in the world, voted by the people of Tomioka. There you go. Public health insurance too. So now we can probably switch away from this to interventionism or laissez-faire. Oh my god, I'd love to go for laissez-faire. Would we actually be able to though? I feel like interventionism would be the safe option, but I really want this. 25% loan interest is huge, man. I'm gonna try for laissez-faire. It's funny that we actually have more universities right now than government administration buildings. We got 62 universities, and we haven't even reached our cap. We still need a few to get up to 69, 169. Alrighty, mutual funds. That is also a big deal as well, since it means we're going from shopkeepers to predominantly bureaucrats, capitalists, and clerks. Pops that we can tax a lot more of. Wait, what? Two Sicilies wants to form an alliance with us. They still exist? Sure, I'll form an alliance with the Italians. What could go wrong, guys? Surely we can trust the Italians. Also, oh my god, Germany is beautiful. Look at that amazing nation. I want to improve relations with them for no reason whatsoever. Now, I'm gonna say it. I really want to do a new Germany run. I really want to do a new Germany run, guys, because there's been so many changes, and I love my Germany run from 1.91, but I need a new one. Now, these guys have horrible relations with me, and they still somehow wanted to be my ally. Are they about to be attacked, and that's why they allied me and they had no other choice? What is happening here? Should I be worried right now is what I'm trying to say. Also, yeah, we probably just want to start scaling up properly now because we do have a lot of economy and it's growing really, really fast. As well as we're close to reaching the innovation cap with our research. So we're catching up when it comes to research to the rest of the world at a very, very quick pace too. Hey, these guys are about to get their refined steel prestige good. And it's official, boys. We are officially properly modernized now. We got proportional taxation, we got laissez-faire, free trade, homesteading, everything we need to do. I'm gonna go for wealth voting, but like a part of me is thinking to go back to autocracy or maybe even technocracy for the authority points. I don't know. I have to say the AI plays the game way better than it did in previous patches. Like before, it was so easy to just overshadow the AI instantly, but now, especially since it does a lot better with unification plays, a lot better with expansion, it's just so much more difficult. And yes, the British are guaranteeing the South Africans pretty much forever as of the 1.97 patch from what I noticed. So yeah, good luck going for this now. They patched the fun parts. No. All right, we also have 20% extra economy scale. So now we've got more than enough innovation. In fact, we have some of it that's spilling over into technology spread. We got one that's spilling over. So we do need more bureaucracy now. We need to get health insurance upgraded, home affairs, law enforcement. We have the good laws for those institutions. We just don't have the bureaucracy for it. Also, around this particular time period, what happens from what I can see is the great powers start munching into Asian nations a lot more. So I'm going to start recruiting my artillery pieces. Not all of them because I don't have enough artillery foundries, but I will recruit at the very least 40 artillery pieces. So that's 20 in each of the army groups, and I'm going to get 30 in each later down the line once we get more artillery foundries. Right now we just have one, so we really need to get more of these. Let's build up 2 more for now in Kanto, I guess. We're quite literally doing this to survive. Now the big changes are going to happen because we're going to be switching to steel frame production method for the construction sectors. We got 3 major hubs here that each have 20 construction sectors. So changing these is going to be really, really big. But it does mean we're going to need a lot more glass and steel mills. So we got right now 22 steel mills, 15 glass works. So I'm going to queue up an extra 20 more of the glass works and an extra 16 steel mills, and we're gonna start making the switch slowly, one of these construction hubs after the other, not all at the same time because we don't want to tank our economy massively. I'm gonna do Kanto first though. Let's do Kanto. I feel like Kanto would be the best choice for the first one. Woo! Look at those assets going down. No. It's going up still because we are privatizing a buttload still, but yeah, it's an interesting way of seeing things, isn't it? It's also time that I create my very first fleet and assign a proper admiral for it. Now this is going to be just frigates for now. We will change this later and we're going to be upgrading to torpedo boats. However, we just need some ships right now. So we're going to get 30 frigates, should be fine. How many can we produce actually from the current military shipyard? We have 35 that we can produce. So that's actually enough then. And I'm going to get an extra 10 artillery for each of the armies. Can also someone explain to me how it's possible that we freaking have 86% success chance and it still hasn't freaking passed the law? Also, I'm gonna do a little bit of a controversial company here. I'm gonna go for the food industries. Why? Because of the birth rate, the 5% birth rate, because we're not really relying on migrants much. We're just trying to grow our population as much as possible. We already actually increased by 5 million in the last few years, so it's growing pretty fast, but we want to just make it fast. And there you go, we got wealth voting too. Oh dude, we have actually a little bit of support for graduated taxation. Might not seem like we're making a profit off of this now, but we will very, very soon because we are definitely doubling down on the industrial output. Also, commercialized agriculture is not bad because it would allow us to get more support for the trade union. So I think this is going to be the next legislation I'm going for. And I've also queued up Ironclad so I can get Mitsubishi as my next company, as well as Jonecol so I can get the self-propelled torpedo boats, upgrade all my ships to that. And we ended up in January 1880. I'm going to leave it here. We have also become a great power finally, which means we can start snowballing and we can also start militarily taking over the Asian parts that are not already British because they've been expanding. Before you go, remember to also use my links below to play War Thunder for free on PC, consoles, and mobile, and take advantage of the 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days premium account, and more that you get by using my links for new and returning players that haven't played in at least 6 months. Make sure to leave that like, and if you want to check this save for yourself, I'm gonna make a bookmark here and I'll post it on my Discord. You gotta just read the rules and then you have access to the saves. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.